today's show, I have a couple of holiday treats, and the first one is called Rugelach. It consists of 4 simple ingredients. We have the cream cheese, a couple of sticks of butter, softened, and flour, and a little bit of salt. And what I do is mix it all together and wrap it up and refrigerate it, sometimes for an hour. What I did is overnight. Once it's pliable, you put it between 2 pieces of wax paper, and like Meryl is showing, you roll it out to an approximate 12-inch circle. How's it roll out? Pretty good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice and easy.
Now we're just about ready to have an approximate 12-inch circle so that we can add the filling mixes. I peel off the top layer of wax paper, and I'm using a plastic knife to make the wedge sections. There are 12 in all, and I find that I do pretty well in measuring them off this way, and that's a pretty even set. Now ordinarily I would put everything on first, but I wanted you to see how to make the wedges, and now I'm going to add in the ingredients. But you really should do it in reverse because you don't want to lose the butter. Now you take and baste everything. Then you want to take your sugar, 3 tablespoons of sugar and cinnamon, cup of sugar and tablespoon of cinnamon. And then you have a few tablespoons of crushed pecans. And then you start rolling everything up into a crescent formation. And you notice how I continue to roll and then make it into like a rounded shape. So they're all pretty easy to do, and you'll see that you roll it up and then make it into an arc shape and let it be a few inches apart. And then you proceed and you do it for all 12. So this is the first batch, and as you see, I curved them and they're into crescent shapes. This goes into a 350-degree oven for 25 minutes. And now I'll work on the other doughs. There are 3 more to go. You notice they roll up very nicely, and if it starts to stick, just use a little spatula to move it along, and you can get it off of the wax paper very nicely. And you don't have to roll it up too tightly. It really takes care of itself. And it really makes a lot. It makes 48 of these crescent rolls. And of course, we still have something to add once they come out of the oven. I'll show you that. There's the next batch. What I've done with this batch is I've curled up every piece so that it just makes it easier to move it along. Just curl the ends. The cuts are already made. In the process of baking these, We've already tried a few, my husband and I, and we give the seal of approval. They are really wonderful. And you can check them out before you put them in to make sure that they're shaped nicely, spaced nicely. And I also have a little rolling pin, and when you get to the point where you want to stretch it, it does work easily. Good. Here's another batch. And I sort of can eyeball it after a while. And then the same with pecans. I know it's just about 2 tablespoons. And then the cutting process, which is so easy. Just crisscross, and then 3 in each triangle. Now, because they're so hot, I want to make sure to use spatula. Get them over onto the cooling rack, and then apply it. Okay, they've cooled off a bit, and I'll do a few at a time. Sprinkle with the cinnamon and sugar. Like so. You can do it in groups. That, and the last group here, like so. In all, there should be 48 Rugelach, but if you really wanted to count it, the videographer and yours truly have enjoyed a few while I'm making them. They are so delicious. So I hope not only for the holiday, but maybe for all year long, you can try these. They'll go a long way. The second treat is going to be white chocolate cranberry pistachio fudge. And if you just can see how beautiful it looks in the plate, wait till you see how easy it is to make. First, I take a piece of parchment paper in a square glass bake dish and just indent it. That's the first step. And continue to work on the corners and the sides, pressing down with masking tape so that you create a nice mold. And that should do it for the beginning step. So the first thing is to use a double boiler. You can do a micro, but I find that microwaving it is a little bit more tedious. And you take 2.5 cups of white chocolate chips, and then you also add some condensed milk. Pour it around, and every so often you can check it and make sure that it is melting. This is a 14-ounce can. So that ought to take care of itself. Good. And just take and mix it in. You'll cover the pot and begin working on the other ingredients. Good. Now I'm going to take some salted chopped pistachios and just chop it a little bit, not overly. That looks good. And then you have one more ingredient, cranberries. And now you'll want to chop the cranberries a little bit too. So put them in a mini chopper. I think that ought to be okay. And there you have it. Okay, let's check on the condensed milk and the white chocolate chips. It's doing very well. It's not there yet, so be patient with it. Stir it around a little bit, and then you can check it out in a few more minutes. I'm just going to check to make sure it's nice and smooth, and that looks good. So I will take cranberries and pistachios, and now I will make sure to mix them in so that they are saturated with pistachios and cranberries. And make sure you get right down to the bottom. Oh, this is coming out great. Now see how I have some mixture right on the bottom. You want to make sure that it's totally immersed. Good. Now I'm going to add it to the parchment paper, let it go over an 8x8 or 9x9 square is fine. And then you're going to add a little bit more of both pistachios and cranberries that are chopped up. There. And just make sure to spread it around, especially in the corners. I have pre-chopped up pistachios and cranberries, and now what I'm going to do is just sprinkle them evenly over the top, and it will get right in. That one was really not chopped. I want to make sure that they're there. And the cranberries, that little chopper really works so well on all of these nuts and dried fruits. And what I like to do before I put it in the refrigerator is just pat it lightly so that, good, so that it sticks to the surface. And that should do it. So now it's ready to be chilled anywhere between 1 and 2 hours. We'll check back. So this is a little over 2 hours later and is solid like a brick. And now what I have to do is take it out and peel off the parchment paper. I usually use a chef's knife to cut it with, so let's see if it works. See how it just goes right through, almost like a butter knife. And then just cut a little over 1-inch pieces. It is fantastic. And look at how many pieces of white chocolate cranberry pistachio fudge you can get out of this one block. And again, just take and apply just a little bit of pressure, and there. Good. And then you just add it to your lovely dish. And this is a fantastic treat for the holiday. I sure hope that you enjoy the Rugelach and the fudge. And I wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2022 with more delightful recipes.